Hi, Jeremy here, Modern Vitality. In today's video, I'm going to share with you the common trait that I've observed in my most successful patients, the ones who have healed the most from complex chronic health conditions. What's a complex chronic health condition? Well, any of these funky head scratcher like mystery illnesses, especially something with a big inflammatory component. So think about Lyme disease, fibromyalgia, chronic fatigue syndrome, mold exposure, adrenal fatigue. That's a big one. We also have reactivated Epstein-Barr, candida, long haulers now. This is a relatively new one, right? And then anything autoimmune. Any condition named after a place or named after a doctor's name, right? There's more to the story with those, okay? That's also a big red flag. So all these complex chronic health conditions, I try to reverse engineer the best progress I have with patients. So the people who get the most success, I start looking at, okay, what did they do? How is that working for them? How can we start to apply these things to some of the other patients who are on a slower arc of healing, right? So I'm always trying to reverse engineer these cases, and I do notice patterns emerge. And one of them I'll share with you today is, I think, probably the most important one, because if you're at all familiar with my work, I'm always talking about this 4-stage, right, approach, because you've got to have an order of operations. And what I mean by that is that so many people come in, right, and I see their applications or their history or, where they have all the information about all the things they've tried and all the things that they're currently trying. And it's important that I see that and look at that so I can start to detect more patterns, right? But when I see that, I'll see a lot of good things. Oftentimes there's a lot of stuff that seems right, like you're doing the right stuff. And then you don't get the same response. Like a lot of these strategies could be something you heard about, like, oh, your friend on a forum tried it and it seemed to help her, or it's, your brother-in-law did it and it helped him or whatever. And you kind of try to copy what other people are doing, which would be called reasoning by analogy, right? You try to copy that and then do it for you. And sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't, right? But the reason when it doesn't, it's not because there's something wrong with you, right? It's just oftentimes that you're not in the right place in your healing process because there are different stages. So if you try to do something that's more appropriate for a later stage, you're kind of skipping ahead and your body's not ready for that and it's not going to work the same way. One of the most simple things to talk about in this capacity is exercise, right? A lot of people, especially if fatigue is a component of what's going on with your symptom pattern, you won't want to exercise. You'll feel tired, right? And it's even worse when you used to exercise a lot and you miss being physical. Right? We've had people that used to do a lot of kayaking and rock climbing and this kind of stuff, triathletes, mountain bike athletes, like all these people. And then you get these illnesses and now you don't have the energy. You just don't have the juice to do your activity. And that can be rough for a different reason, but the kind of emotional tug, right? Now you're grieving that. So we'll have that kind of motivation. And then we also have sometimes guilt, like, hey man, if I just push through this fatigue, maybe I do need to exercise and I'm just kind of like, the fatigue's making me lazy. I'm just kind of giving up to it. I feel guilty. I want to do this, or I want to, maybe the willpower kicks in. You go, I'm not going to be told what to do by my fatigue, right? And then you push through and you exercise, right? And then after that, it can be kind of hit or miss. So in this example, I'll talk about when it doesn't work out is the exercise actually makes you flare up. And now you got post-exertional malaise syndrome, right? Where you exercise, kind of push through the fatigue and all that. And then next thing you know, for the next 4, 5, 7 days, whatever, you're on the couch and you don't feel good at all. And the reason why is not because exercise is bad and not because there's something wrong with you. It's because the exercise was done at the wrong time in your stage. So when we talk about 4 stages, immune, digestive, neuroadrenal, blood circulation, right? That's number 4. When you exercise, especially if you're going relatively hard, now you're moving a lot of blood, right? You're doing stage 4 type therapies, increasing circulation. But the trouble is, if you still have an inflammatory problem that hasn't been handled in stage 1 or maybe stage 2, right? When you're looking at immune and digestive, if you still got a lot of inflammation going on or you still got active pathogens, then you're not going to have the same response to exercise because you're doing a stage 4 therapy when you should be doing a stage 1 therapy. You should be dialing in your immune system and getting immune specificity and getting these pathogens out of your body and getting the biofilms dissolved, and the slime on your tongue needs to go away and the fluid retention needs to start moving around. Like these kinds of signs and symptoms, you can start looking at that and go, okay, I wasn't ready to exercise yet. There's nothing wrong with exercise, there's nothing wrong with me, but I'm going to make my way through these stages in a logical, consistent way. And when it's time, I will know to reintroduce exercise. And I bet you get a different response and a different result at that point, right? I've got a pretty strong bet. If you're properly in stage 4 and you exercise, it's going to feel great. It's going to light you up. So that's just exercise. Every other supplement, every therapy, every medicine, every herb, everything can be categorized amongst these stages. So no matter what you're doing, what medicines you're taking, you can look and go, okay, I'm doing a really hard stage 1 approach here, and I've also got a lot of stage 3 going on. Maybe I should pause these stage 3 things, which are in neuroadrenal, right? Maybe I should pause those and just work on stage 1 first, which I usually recommend taking one thing at a time, basically. But what that does is that takes all these horizontal options that are all over the table in terms of what should I try for my condition, my symptom, right? And you get this whole pile of suggestions, and now you can start to stack them up and organize them. And you can start to make sense out of this so you don't get overwhelmed. Because that's another thing. I know we're a few minutes into this video, but that's another thing that I notice is there's so much information out there now that your good intentions combined with fatigue and some brain fog means information overload is you're done. You get analysis paralysis. You don't get anywhere. The overwhelm's horrible. It's crippling. So what we try to do within our group and within our vault, which we have a vault of videos, it's all interactive and it gets you set up so that you can start to organize yourself, right? That's the whole point, is to give you a different understanding around your condition and around your stages and your body so that you can start to map out, what are my next steps? What should I think about doing? What should I think about discontinuing, right? What could I pause for now? And start to understand past failures, right? In a different context as actually learning opportunities. So we learn how to waste nothing, right? Even failures become information so we can have feedback. The waves are starting to kick up again. And the crows have gone. They were squawking earlier. So we look at all these things so that you can help yourself get organized and get a structured plan. Of course, we have programs where we can walk you through that, but this group is free to join. You can just be a guest. There's nothing at risk. You don't have to pay anything, but you do, have to fill out an application so that I can get to know your case. And I want to get to know not only your case, but also a bit of your personality, because this is the way I see it. Going online now, it's really just an extension of real life. It's an organic network. And I do care and I value a lot the culture and the community that we've built in our group. It's called Modern Vitality Solutions and Support. It's a lovely place to be. It's international. And again, it's free, totally complimentary to join as a guest. However, do take your time with the application, okay? Don't rush through it, because it's my opportunity to get to know you so that when you're in our group as a guest and you want to ask me something and I share my perspective with you, it can be coming from information that you've given me, right? So that I have context about your case specifically and I'm not just saying random stuff, right? The other thing that's great about this group is that we're off of the big tech platforms. We've got our own chat group, which means when it comes to medical topics, I know there's been a lot of taboo and censorship and these kinds of things. I don't have to worry about getting deplatformed from my own chat group. So I can answer things candidly. I can say anything I want openly without fear of any kind of other incentives. So you're going to get my best perspective in there. And again, it's a positive group. There's great people. I would encourage you to join. When I see your application, if it looks good, I'll get you in just as soon as I can. We keep it small. We keep it cozy. It tends to fill up. So maybe a wait of a month, 2 months, something like that. I'll get you in sooner if possible too. But just know that I read every single one and I'm taking my time. I'm taking a close look. And as soon as there's an opening, you'll get the same opportunity everybody else did. All right, let's get you feeling better. Cheers.